Morning, my name is Pastor. And I'm talking about finish فارسی تموم میشه یا نه. So, with the story on. When I was in high school, actually it was last grade. It was grade 4 in the high school, that which is called 12, because in a school system, I guess still it exists, although there is changes in educational system in Iran, but there is also the same grade, because grade 12 you get your diploma as is finished, and your education finished, and you go to university if you want to continue. So I was in grade 12, and we need to talk about acceleration. It was class of physics, and we needed to talk about some physical rules, and teacher was explaining, and a student asked questions as always. There was talking about the cars. The discussion comes out that which car is the fastest, not the total speed, but also is from 0 to 100. When the car stopped and it needs to get accelerated, which car is going fast from 0 to 100? People had different idea. One of the students said BMW is the fastest. But I don't care whose car and which car is the fastest from 0 to 100. Because when you use the car for getting around the city, it's not the Formula One car, it's not racing car. So you don't need the car that getting faster. Actually, it's not important at all, because if you press the gas pedal very fast and you take off, you consume more gas. And with the price of gas nowadays, you don't want to do that. So I don't want BMW at all. If it's fast or not, I don't care. So it's not important how you start. It's important how you end. So don't be so sure your ending is as good as your start. Maybe you start good. Some churches in Revelation was like that. They started very good, but they lost what they have. They finish is not as good as the start. Wait until the end, and you will see God comes and separate you guys. Don't be so sure that you accepted Jesus Christ into your heart and you have salvation. No, it's not like that. Amen? Paul said that. I will talk about Paul in a moment. When you start a journey, I start my journey 20 years ago. It's not a fast speed. It's a marathon. Actually, let me give you another story from my own life. When I was in university, there was a racing in the stadium of the city, because our university was very close to the stadium. And actually, that was a neighbor of the stadium, and we went to stadium all the time. We are allowed to go to the stadium and do a lot of activity there. There was a race, and in that race, that was a long race. It was not a speed race. It was a long race, and everybody started to race. Everybody for sure wanted to be number one, but only one person can be number one. We are running and running and running, and some people on mid of the way they get tired and they come to the middle and sat there because they were tired. But I continue and continue and continue. When I finished the race and I finished the line, everybody clapped for me. Do you know why? I was not the first one who passed the finish line, because I was among those who finished the race. So what's the rush? It's not a fasting. Our Christian life is not a racing, it's a marathon. You need to go steady, not fast. Some people encourage others, oh, fast, 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 fast. It's not a fasting race. Even if you see exercises of those who do professionally racing, they have different exercises. So if you see something, maybe you don't need that kind of exercise. There is different kind of exercise you can do. So wait until the end and God's come and separate you guys. Don't be so sure that you can end the race well. Maybe you started well, but you cannot be sure you ended well. آیا فارسی تموم میشه؟ I don't know. But I want to mention few finishes in the Bible. The period of Joshua can be easily dated as occurring sometime after 1237 BC, 100,237 BC. So میشه تاریخ تعیین کرد. Some suggest that the notion of the conquest is extremely inaccurate. Do you remember the city that Joshua with the army, they round and round and round 7 times until the wall came down. And they blew the horn, boom, and the wall came down. But some people don't agree with that, don't accept that. They say, oh, it's just a myth. They suggest that the people did not conquer at all. Those people was not conquest at all. As to the historical Joshua, little can be said apart what is said in the biblical text. We read in the Bible, but there is no proof of fact that this event has happened. Nobody can prove that this event has happened. So only we read in the Bible. If you believe in the Bible and the truth of the Bible, yes, it happened. But if you don't believe in the Bible, there is no proof that it actually happened at all. There is no evidence of him outside of the Bible. But this does not mean that he was merely a literary invention. You can accept it or you can refuse it. In fact, it seems quite reasonable that after the death of Moses, somebody substitute the Moses to conquer the promised land. Every story, everything is like this. There was an Iranian who acted a dangerous act. And every film and was international. A stunt. We call it a stunt. There was a stunt Iranian and act very good. He died because of an accident. And the student and those who learn from that continue his way. So if a teacher, if a leader, if somebody who is famous died, those who follow that continue without any problem. Don't worry. Don't worry at all. Not any church, not any family, not any organization collapsed when a person died. So don't worry about that. Somebody in the church can die and his children can continue without any problem. But you have to continue the journey as a marathon. Paul says that. Christian journey is not a speed running, it's a marathon run, right? So if something happened to somebody else substitute that person. If something happened to me, Joshua is my substitute. Hillsong Church was my hiding place until after some months, she said I can't, and I came out of there. So nothing happened. At the end of the day, if someone dies, that's natural. Everybody dies. If you look at the history, greatest people die. Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, all of them die. So it's natural. Everybody dies. But substitutes continue the journey. And don't encourage anybody to fast. What's the use of the fast running? It's a marathon. You have to stay fast, not going fast. Let's talk about Moses from birth to death. When he was born, Pharaoh wanted to kill every single child because of the prophecy. He heard a prophecy and he believed that prophecy. And he instructed midwives to kill every child that was born. But out of loyalty to God, midwives refused to obey. Sometimes you can refuse obey the authority. No problem with that. Because they ask you to do something that is wrong. Even in the Bible that they say a lot, obey your parent, obey your parent. Some people say father, but you don't need to obey father in the church, even if you call them father. If you see that there is some wrongdoing in the church, you don't need to respect, you don't need to obey the parent of the church. You don't need to do that. That's according to the word of God. So midwife didn't listen to instruction. Sometimes I posted in Facebook that sometimes result of listening is a bankruptcy. You don't need to always listen. I want to live 100 years. I don't need to listen to the leaders of the church. I don't need to listen to them. When I see them doing wrong thing, so it's something between me and God. It's between me and God. I don't listen to the leaders of the church. I don't need to listen to them because they do wrong thing. Okay, so midwife didn't listen to instruction, and Jochebed hid the baby to keep him safe. When she could do no longer, she got a basket, made something for isolation that water doesn't go to the basket, and put it, waterproof it, the bottom, and release it on the river. And the stream goes on and on and on. And guess who takes this basket out of the river? No one. It could be anybody. It could be anybody who find a baby. But someone from the house of Pharaoh find a baby. She take off the baby from the stream and raise the child. Daughter of Pharaoh himself picked the baby up and raised him up. He raised very well in the Pharaoh house. He learned everything from Pharaoh, because at that time there was a privilege. Nobody could learn these things that in the palace they teach. Like today they say, oh, it's for only pastors. You cannot understand, you cannot learn. Book is for the pastors, and they have a special place. Nobody can go there, sit there, and all of this nonsense. All right? So nobody could learn things that Pharaoh teach those who were in the palace. And Moses learned all of this. He grew very well in the Pharaoh palace. But sometimes it happened that he couldn't hold it anymore. And sometimes we see in the movies, but if in reality it happened. They say, if you want to keep your title, if you want to keep your position, you have to keep quiet. When you see injustice, they say, oh, don't tell anyone, be quiet. When you see injustice, be quiet if you want to keep your position, if you want to keep your title. It was for Moses the same. He was seeing injustice. Somebody دلش میخواست بزنه و زد. But Moses was seeing all of this injustice. He killed somebody who دلش میخواست بزنه. Moses یه نفر رو که داشت میزد کشت. When he killed that person, he ran. He escaped because he was afraid of his life. He escaped to the wilderness. And we know that what happens. He saw a bush on fire and God talked to him. And after so many times, you know how many times? 40 years, after 40 years, 8 years. He got married, and then he came back. With the use of his brother, him with his brother released the Jews from the bondage. I don't want to talk about that. It's a different story. But I'm talking about coincidence. Anybody could find a baby, but nobody found it. Only daughter of Pharaoh find the baby. This is a coincidence. You can go anywhere. You can meet anybody. But in the right time, in the right place, you meet somebody. And that person can be with you for the rest of your life. That is coincidence. And the mother of the child, I'm talking about daughter of Pharaoh, could choose any name for the child, but she named it Moses. Pharaoh's daughter named the child Moses, which is in Hebrew means drown out of the water. But in Egyptian was close to the word for son. Sometimes we choose a name and that name has a significant meaning. So pay attention to the meaning of the name even today. Although it's not like before that they put a name with a reason. They just think about, oh, this name is beautiful, so I want to name my daughter, my son, this and this and this. They don't think about the meaning of the name. Sometimes, not all the time. Moses learned everything and he grew there very well. If you want to get a lesson from this story, only one lesson, it would be this. Something that going to happen, it will happen. No matter what block the way, no matter the door is locked or not, something is going to happen, it will happen for sure. It seems impossible, but it will happen. May the door for now, right now, I'm talking about right now. Maybe the door is closed for you right now, but it won't last forever. Maybe the door is open for you now, but it won't last forever. آیا فارسی تموم میشه؟ من فکر میکنم. Let's talk about another finish, which is finish the race that I was talking about, the race. One of the first round recorded in human history long before the marathon in Greek mythology is mentioned in the Bible. In the beginning of the book of Samuel, therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which is so easily ensnared us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author of and the finisher of faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him who endured such hostility from sinners against himself, lest you become weary and discouraged in your souls. You have not yet resisted to the bloodshed, striving against sin. Hebrews 12:1-4. Maybe you confront the false teacher, but you have not resisted to bloodshed. When you confront the false teacher, you have to know that it's a long run. You maybe think you are ready, but it's not finished yet. Some people start well, and they think, oh, we are ready. But it's not finished yet. Wait until the end, and God may come, and God will come I know it's not happening in this generation. God will not come in this generation. But God will come eventually and separate you guys from each other. Maybe you think you are in one heart. Maybe you think that. But only God sees the heart of you guys. Finish to the end, and God will come and separate you guys from each other. We all heard the saying that it's a marathon, not a sprint. The current world record holder for the 100-meter sprint is Usain Bolt, the fastest man of the earth. But we don't need fastest man. We don't need that. As the record time is 9:58 seconds. That's so fast. But we don't need fastest man. We need longer run. We need someone who do the marathon running. Maybe you run from your childhood until now that I don't care how old are you. But wait until the end. You have to continue running. Continue running. Steadfast. I don't get tired of running. My journey is continuing. I'm just at the start of my journey. And you should continue as well. The two very different events that require very different skills. Maybe you are skilled for fast running, but when you want to run the long running like marathon or half marathon, you cannot do that. These all requires very different fast skills, different strategy. I remember 20 years ago when I accepted Jesus Christ into my heart, I was eager to learn, and I'm still eager to learn. And I continue, and not only I learn, I teach you guys. I was racing to win, and I still racing to win against forces of darkness, inside and outside of the church. I was on fire for God, and I'm still on fire on God. I have zealous for God. God knows that. It's between me and God. God knows my intention. God knows my name and my intention. When I joined the church, I learned how to pray. I put my life into Bible. From day one, I learned Bible. I get involved in church activity. I was going outside. I was pressing and pressing and pressing. But I need to press against forces of darkness today as well. I was going on the street to invite people on the church, but today I find out that there is no use for that. You have to send to God, not invite to God. There is so much difference. You can say, oh, come to me, come to me, come to me, come to me. That's for yourself. You want to feel the church. You want to feel the seat of the church. That's why you invite people, come to me, come to me. You want to feel the seat of the church. But when you send to God, that's a total different story. You put the hands of God in the hands of that person. That's a direct connection. God doesn't want any mediator. There is no one in the middle. We don't need anyone in the middle. We don't need a pastor to talk, interpret, and instead of God talk. No, God put it in my heart. God told me. We don't need those people who translate God whatever they want. We don't need that. We can talk to God ourselves without any middle person, mediator. We don't need that. I was getting involved in church activity and I was doing whatever I can. My intention was helping, and still my intention is helping. But what is the rush? Why do you invite people برای خودش میگه دعوت میگه همه رو بیارین میگه هر کدوم حداقل یه نفر بیارین تو کلیسا برای خودش میگه میخواد صندلی های کلیساش پر بشه که خوشبختانه کلیساش هم تعطیل شد. When I realized that this fact over time, I came to realize that my walk with Jesus is a marathon, not a sprint. There is no rush. I came out of the block that day. I don't need to record the fast running. Some Christians, they doubt that the race actually has a finish line. That's what life can feel like for many men. Some people, they are discouraged. There is no end for this misery. It's like for many men. The pressure of the family, work, finances, fatigue set in. And we hit the wall. We forget what it was like when we blasted out of the gate as a new Christian. I told you. We start very well, but we get tired in the middle. And we are sidetracked this way or this way. We should focus and continue to run, not distracted this way or that way. Press in, never go back. Press in, press in. Press the forces of darkness and push forward. You can run against the wind. As a Christian, you have all the things you need. The moment you become a new believer, you have all the things you need. Just stop arguing, stop trusting the wrong people, press against forces of darkness, and get what belongs to you as a child of God. That's why hard people always win against bad days. Be sure that if you focus and never turn back, there is still hope. The good news is that God will help us if we keep pressing and pressing and pressing. And this is healthy push. Don't be discouraged. God knows the next step. So next step, another next step, another next step, another next step. God knows that. He is waiting for you to press so he can run with you. Don't be discouraged. And finish the race. It's not a life run from be until you die in this earth. So don't be this of God be with you.